Hi, I'm Helena. Today we're going to talk about the third part of the Ring of the Nibelung, which is the second day. If you ask yourself why I'm still wearing the same thing, I'm kind of trying to make all the 4 videos for this and next week in one sitting. So this is just the same day, as always. So we're gonna go into the third part now. And you know what? The best thing is, we already know almost all the people. Because we already know Mime from Rheingold, we already know Alberich from Rheingold, we already know Fafner from Rheingold, we already know Erda from Rheingold, we already know Brunhilde from the Valkyrie. And now we're gonna get to the Wanderer, who is Wotan in disguise. So, I call him the Wanderer now. May also call him Wotan once or twice, but he's Wotan. He just kind of is no longer seeing himself as the king of the gods. That's why he wanders around and seeks out the 9 worlds, and he wanders through them. Then the next one is a bird of the woods, who is a bird of the woods. No personality there, just a frilly little thing singing around and flying around, you know what I mean? And then there's Siegfried. So after watching the Valkyrie, you know that there was kind of this this incest thing going on between Siegmund and his twin sister Sieglinde. And 9 months after their little encounter, she bears a son. Or she bore a son? She bore a son. Also, we have to say that Sieglinde is one of the most underrated characters in the whole Ring. So, she grew up relatively normal, then her mother was murdered in front of her own eyes. She was taken away. Then she was, again, as a child, married off to a guy who's probably 5-6 times her age. Then she finds her brother again and says, wow, good, I'm finally free. Then he gets again murdered before her eyes, and she has to go into the woods to live all on her own, by the way. And we also have to remember, it's said one time that the first act of the Valkyries, so the whole Valkyrie, because it's in under 24 hours, is during what is called Wonnemond. So Wonnemond is the Middle Age saying for May. But if she conceives her child in May, then she will have it in, well, January or February. So she has to stay in the woods, not only all alone, while there are all these magical creatures running around, but she also has to give birth to her child in winter in February, and has to, well, live through winter in a high state of pregnancy, at least in the original, not in the Bayreuth production, you know. So, yeah, she's really a heroine, unlike Brunhilde, who's never alone. Just think that she's never alone. She always has her dad, or she has her sisters, and then she has, well, we're gonna get there, and she's alone for just 1 day of her life. And then she immediately comes up with this murderous plan. So I think the real heroine of it all is Sieglinde. She doesn't come up in Siegfried, obviously, because she gives birth to her and her brother's son, Siegfried, in the middle of the woods, and then she dies under mysterious circumstances. We get a story from Mime, but considering that Mime is, along with Alberich, one of the bad people of it all, not believable. It's just a pretty little story to keep Siegfried down, to be real. So Siegfried's now, he's grown up to a certain extent, so he's probably in his teen years. We don't know, obviously, but he's probably in his teen years, maybe early 20s. He's a man now. He's a man. He has never seen a woman before. He's really a natural guy, and if you remember what I said in the Valkyrie, the whole family is about natural rights. So they don't really care about the law, but what would be right by nature. You know, you get what I mean. If a woman doesn't want a man, she shouldn't be forced to marry him. That kind of guy. Also, he like gains all his knowledge from nature. Problem is that most nature does not deceive. Unless they're like crows, so they are really intelligent and they deceive the others. This is clear. But most of them don't deceive, so he doesn't know anything about this. He doesn't know about lying, he doesn't know about bad people. This is really substantial for him. He's this good guy, he's this good kid, he's really naive, he's deathly naive, and yeah, he's just not really socially intelligent, let's just say. Just say it like this. He also didn't inherit, obviously, because he was not brought up by his parents, because his mother died when giving birth, and his father died like one day after he was conceived, not even. In the Valkyrie, there's a scene when Siegmund asks Sieglinde to drink before him, so he would know that the water or whatever she gives him is not poisonous. Siegfried doesn't know that. And this is, well, the reason why he dies. Siegmund was intelligent enough to say, hey, drink this before me. And Siegfried's like, what? Water? Or something that looks like water? Let's get it down. Sorry, my voice is a bit giving out. I've been doing the other videos before. So, Siegfried's deathly naive. And this would have been all the people that we had from this. So, where are we going with this? We start off with this kind of a dugout, almost, where Mime lives with his adoptive son Siegfried. So we all remember Mime, don't have to talk about him anymore, but he makes swords because he ultimately also wants the ring of Fafnir, and he knows that Siegfried would be strong enough, let's say it like this, he would be strong enough to murder Fafnir and get the ring back. Problem is that Siegfried's so strong that no sword can withhold his strength. But one. But that's the one sword Mime is not able to repair, which is Siegfried's father's sword, Nothung, if you remember it. So Mime is kind of, he's down at this point. And he's also kind of, it's overbearing, like raising a child like Siegfried. I mean, ADHD is calling, I would just say. Worst kind of ADHD. He's not sitting still whatsoever. There's really not a thinking bone in his body, let's be honest. So, Mime has these problems. He tries it with a sword. Siegfried breaks them all. Siegfried also has this annoying habit of bringing pets home, and by pets I mean full-grown bears, which are not pets, and Mime is really freaked out, which he should be. And then Siegfried goes away because he hates Mime. Mime is this old ugly guy, and Siegfried's young and he's beautiful, and he says, you can't be my dad. Come on, this is not heritage, bro. I'm beautiful, you're ugly. How can I be? No, like, this is not a thing. And he leaves, and he always wants to go away, but he ultimately always comes back. But in the meantime, Wotan comes, so the Wanderer comes. And Mime doesn't, like, connect the dots between the guy that he met in Rheingold and now the guy he meets now. And they ask each other some questions and this and that and this and that. And a few of the stuff comes up which was there before, and now I really have to stretch my legs. I've been sitting for so long. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna be right back. This is horrible. So sorry. I'm really been sitting here for quite a while. Just getting up to get my water before, and yeah. Anyway, what you always have to remember is that the ring was not written in order. So it was not like Wagner began to write Rheingold and then Valkyrie and then Siegfried. No. Case. I'm not exactly sure with what he started. It's either Siegfried or Götterdämmerung. I think it's Götterdämmerung, which is the fourth part. And then he said, no, this is too complicated. I'm gonna write a third part before that, which was Siegfried. And then he said, this is still too complicated. I'm gonna write a part before that, which was Valkyrie. I'm gonna write a part before that because it's still too complicated, which was Rheingold. So you have in all of these things, you have the element of we're gonna recount what has been happening before. So this is these questions. For example, you have, I think Wotan asks Mime about, like, what are the people who are living there, what are the people who are living there, and basically Mime recounts the story of the Rheingold by saying, oh yeah, there live the giants, there live the Nibelungs, there live the gods. And he recounts the Rheingold and they recount the Valkyrie. So, always have to remember this, and there's always this part. So in the Valkyrie, it was Wotan recounting it before Brunhilde in the second act. And we will have later, and by later I mean in 2 weeks, in Götterdämmerung, next week, in Götterdämmerung we will have Waltraute recounting it to some extent. And Brunhilde and Siegfried recounting it also to some extent. But, as I said, always remember that. So there might be some lengths because they have to explain something that we knew or that we know when we watched the whole thing in order. But anyway, so Wotan leaves, Siegfried comes back, and they kind of have a bit of a celebration. And Mime recounts this wonderful sweet story of how he found this heavily pregnant woman in labor in the woods, and he brought her in, and she told him her story, and he helped her give birth, but he did everything he could, but she died, unfortunately, and she only left behind a name for him that Brunhilde actually gave him in the Valkyries. So before Sieglinde left, she said, name your son Siegfried, he'll be the greatest hero of all. And Sieglinde, before dying, just say, name him Siegfried, here's the sword, this is it, and she dies. This is obviously not what happened, because Mime is still the bad guy. He's one of the two worst guys in the whole thing. The Nibelungs are the antagonists. So don't believe a word they say. Never. Never, never, never. Anyway, so Siegfried is kind of, he's down. He's kind of in a state, wait, my mom died because of me? Which is a common thing, unfortunately, of people whose mothers died at birth, thinking that. But it's very soon forgotten because Mime comes up with the sword, and Siegfried says, yeah, you gotta mend it. I want to work with this. And Mime's like, yeah, I can't. This is impossible. It's not me. Help me. And so Siegfried wants to start making this sword. And Mime says, oh, by the way, your mom wanted you to learn to be afraid, because you're not, and you should be. And also Wotan told Mime that he would be killed by someone who is not afraid. So he desperately wants Siegfried to begin being afraid. So he says, I know this worm, this dragon-like worm here in the woods. You could kill it, or maybe you start being afraid of it. And I would be good with this. And Siegfried, because he loves his mom so much, even though he's never met her, obviously, he says, yes, of course, if she wants me to be afraid, then I'm gonna be afraid. This is totally my thing. And the thing is, and this is the beauty of Wagner, and he was really the beginner of Easter eggs. When they say he should begin to be afraid, it's not the music of the worm playing. It's in fact the music that was playing when Brunhilde was asleep. You might say, what? Why? They're singing about the snake, they're singing about the worm, dragon, whatever. Why would this music be playing? And you're gonna see it later. Just a little bit of a bit beforehand. So anyway, Siegfried wants to mend the sword, and he does it all wrong. And while they have this very famous forging song singing, Mime is kind of like, oh, I'm gonna kill him, I'm gonna kill him. He just has to kill Fafner, and then I'm gonna get the ring, and then Siegfried can die, and I'm the mightiest Nibelung in the world. And Siegfried is like, yes, this is my sword. This is it. We're going there. Wonderful, isn't it? This is the end of Act 1, because Siegfried mends the sword, forges it, whatever, and he, on one go, destroys, like, the embers that he forged the sword on. And we actually have a beautiful picture of this, because this is today's production for later, but you can see it here. So you see Siegfried having his sword, and yes, I think you kind of see the embers, which he destroyed, so this is why the smoke is there. But anyway, so this is the end of Act 1. In the second act, we're in the middle of the woods in front of the cave where the worm slash snake slash dragon, whatever, I think it's a lindworm, Fafner lives, because he has transformed into, well, a dragon over the course of the centuries, of the millenniums. So he's really this pure evil. He's got his treasure, his Nibelung's treasure behind him. He's got the ring, he's good. He's got the helmet. He's living his best life as a reptile. Anyway, he's really good. So, Alberich is kind of going around there because he still wants his ring back. And then Wotan is also going around there, and Alberich says like, no, this is my ring. If anyone has any claim to this, it's me. And Wotan's like, yeah, it's okay. And Alberich's like, no, you get this. Mine. And Wotan's like, yeah, okay, good. And Alberich's like, okay. He's like not really sure what to make of this kind of distant Wotan, in this case, or the Wanderer, in this case, because Wotan doesn't really have, I mean, he himself can't take it, and Siegfried's on his way. So he's kind of teasing Alberich by saying, bro, you know, like, Mime is coming here and he wants to have this as well. And Alberich's like, what? Mime? Like, no way. Anyway, there's all of these old men standing around there. So sorry, I'm still sitting on the floor and I'm still not very comfortable. Anyway. So Alberich and Wotan kind of retreat deeper into the woods when Siegfried and Mime are coming. And, well, comes as it was meant to be. Siegfried and Fafner fight, and then Siegfried kills Fafner. And in the kind of the final moments of Fafner, they kind of make peace. And Siegfried says he's actually better than Mime was. So we get this very clear picture that the Nibelungs are the bad guys, because even the giants are better. Yeah, Siegfried, by the way, also got like his horn. So this is the very famous horn call that Siegfried has. He learns it in this scene while he waits for the dragon slash worm slash, you know what I mean. So he got this back. So like every child, he retrieves his sword and he's like, oh damn, this is bloody, and it's kind of getting all over his arm. And he, well, what you do when you get like hot stuff on your hand, you lick it off. Just a thing. So I know that in the like original Nibelung saga, there is this thing that he takes a bath in the blood, and there was this anyway, we're not even gonna talk about this because you're gonna get confused. He takes the blood, he kind of drinks it so he understands how what the birds say. And the bird says, oh, by the way, I just want to tell you, Mime wants to kill you. And Siegfried's like, okay, good. And the bird also says, this stupid bird. So glad it gets killed. The stupid bird says, oh, by the way, there in this cave, there's this like magic treasure. It's wonderful, it's cool, it's great. There is this helmet and this ring that would be good for you. And Siegfried, because he's deathly naive, talked about this, goes in, and what does he get? He gets the ring and the helmet. And obviously, like everyone who is watching him, because there's Mime and Alberich and Wotan watching him, they're like, what? Couldn't he have taken any other thing? No, but he wants he wants the ring. This is thing. And obviously, because Siegfried still thinks, okay, good, Mime's gonna kill me, he kills Mime first. So Mime is being killed by someone who knows no fear, because he was still not afraid of this worm. Sorry. And Siegfried is kind of lonely. And also, about the curse, you remember the curse from the Rheingold. Siegfried is not affected by that. Why is he not affected? Because he's not intelligent enough. He doesn't know all these things. He doesn't care about gold. He doesn't want, he doesn't need, he isn't jealous. It's just not in his nature. He's naive. He's really stupid. Let's be honest. He's a good fighter, but he's naive and he's stupid. So, he's not affected by the ring's curse. Not at all. He will be later when he wakes up and becomes intelligent. What does that tell us? Intelligence and waking up is not always the best thing. But never mind. So he killed Mime, but he's kind of lonely. He lost his father figure, and like Wotan and Alberich are too... Well, Alberich because Wotan left. But Alberich is too afraid to face Siegfried on his own. So Alberich leaves him alone. And Siegfried, he's lonely. And he says, oh God, I wish I had a mate, someone to be with, someone to talk to. I'm really so lonely. I've seen all these couples. I've seen, I don't know, birds nesting together. I've seen a pair of foxes having little foxes and stuff together. I just want to have a mate like that. And the bird says, you know what? I kind of know this place. There's this rock, this mountain, where there's a beautiful... Wait a second. I'm not sure if I say this right, because this is very important, actually, for later. So, yada yada yada. That does not help us. There's a lot in the second act, I just see. Yeah, it's actually, because this makes him even more stupid, because he actually, don't look at me like that, because the bird actually tells him there's a woman asleep on this rock, on this mountain, and if you can wake her up, she'll be your mate. And by mate, I mean bride. So Siegfried's like, yeah, wow, wonderful, this is totally the right way to date. Just go there, wake her up, and we'll be married. Great, wonderful, stupid, obviously, but never mind. He doesn't think that as well. So the bird says, let's be off, and Siegfried follows her, because the bird is sung by a woman. Never comes on stage, obviously, because she's a bird. So, third act. This is really not so long. No, never mind. Third act. So in the third act, we are kind of at the bottom of that mountain, that rock. I always say it's more of a mountain, but in Germany, because it actually exists, it's called der Valkyrienfelsen. So it's kind of the Valkyries rock. So this is why I sometimes say mountain, sometimes say rock. And we are at the bottom of it. And basically Wotan has this last great moment, and he wakes up his old lover because he seduced her, for sure. Because he seduced her, and he wakes her up again and says, hey girl, what's up? I'm the wanderer, you totally don't know me. Cool, isn't it? And she's like, I've slept for so long, I'm not beautiful enough yet. Couldn't get my beauty sleep. And he's like, no, I need the world's wisest woman to help me with these kind of problems. And she's like, come on, I've got this daughter, she's really intelligent, can't you ask her? And he's like, what? Do you mean Brünnhilde? No, but she was sent to sleep by her father. And Erdo's like, what? Why would he do this? This is insane. Why? He himself never obliged to rules, so now he's cursing out his daughter and kind of freezes her. No. Because she doesn't oblige him. She doesn't abide by the rules. By the way, I hope this is the right word for this. This is insane. He the rule breaker himself, who always broke rules, now curses his daughter out for breaking the rules. This is stupid. And they kind of have a little fight, and then she says, oh no, wait, I know you, you're Wotan. Yeah, for real. And they kind of have this little fight, and let's say her answer does not satisfy him at all, and he sends her back to sleep. After this, Wotan has like this kind of still a guardian of his daughter moment before Siegfried comes. And Siegfried, of course, he has his sword. There's still a little bit of worm blood on it. There's the little tiny bird, which immediately flies away. And Siegfried's like, hey, wait, where did my bird go? I mean, is this the fire-encased rock I was supposed to go to? This fire-encased rock? Are there more than one? Never mind. And basically Wotan's like, yeah, the bird left because the master of ravens is here. And it is, let's say, I don't think it is mentioned. I don't think that the bird survived this thing with the ravens, because he's never seen again. But never mind. Basically, Wotan tells Siegfried that his own power would be broken as soon as Siegfried steps foot onto the rock, onto the mountain. And Siegfried's like, yeah, I don't care. I want to wake this girl. And Wotan's like, I know this sword well that you have here. I broke it. And he's like, what? You're the murderer of my dad? And Wotan doesn't say no. But, like, nee, side eye. And they fight, and Siegfried in turn breaks Wotan's spear. And let's be real, in the spear there's all the contracts that were binding for Wotan. So now his power is broken, his contracts are broken. All the peace he had before is now broken. So Wotan goes off and he is never to be seen again. He's deeply broken. And Siegfried goes through to the top of the mountain, of the rock, you know, whatever you mean. And this is actually a moment where I want to appreciate what Wagner did, because Wagner did not invent the leitmotif, but he perfected it. So in this moment we have all these different things going on. We have the fire theme, we have Siegfried's horn, which is always heard above the fire theme, but we also have this like undercurrent theme of Valhalla from Rheingold. So the Valhalla theme gets all the more quieter, and Siegfried ultimately, well, triumphs over the fire, and you can exactly hear this in the music. And then the fire dies down, which you can also hear, and you have the thing of Brünnhilde asleep. And the fire is completely gone, and the Valhalla is also completely gone. But you have now Brünnhilde asleep, and there's this little twinge, this little thing of Rheingold, the theme of Rheingold, the curse, which is now approaching Brünnhilde, the sleeping Brünnhilde. So just a perfect, I don't know, what is it, 2-3 minutes of music, where you can really understand how Wagner worked with his leitmotif thing, which is in every modern music score. It just is. Every modern film music is based on Wagner. Live with it. I had to. So, Siegfried has a victory over the fire. He's gone through it, and he's now on top of the mountain/rock. And then he's like going around and saying, oh, there's a horse. You remember like the horse that Brünnhilde rode to the rock. Oh, there's this horse and it's asleep. And oh, there's a warrior who's asleep. This is why I looked it up, if he actually knew that it was a woman sleeping up there, because he does not realize it is a woman. On the other hand, he has never seen one, so how could he know? Not a human one, at least. And he says, oh, there's this warrior. He has got, he's like, there is this helmet, there's this spear, there's this sword. Oh, the sword. There's this shield, in full armor. But I think this is really uncomfortable. He's asleep and he's uncomfortable in all this stuff. So he opens certain things. He takes the stuff away. And then when he opens what is called in Germany a Brünne, so the upper part of her, like, of the cast, I don't know. The upper part of it, he sees that, you know what I mean. He sees her upper body. It's really horrible how I can say they forced women, but I can't say, no, anyway. He sees her upper body and says, this is not a man. 100 points for Siegfried, thank you. This is not a man, and he's completely stunned. Because again, he's never seen a woman. And now he's literally standing before the most beautiful woman in the whole wide world. And he's completely done. And he's kind of crying for his mama, really. He's crying out for his mama, and he doesn't know what to do. But she looks so great, and she's so beautiful, and he decides to kiss her. Which I personally think is okay if this is like your only way of reawakening. Because there was like not a scene like in the new Snow White movie when they were like, "Wake me with a kiss," because Brünnhilde was literally asleep since before Siegfried was born. And yeah, I don't think that consent was so big at the time. And I think she didn't really care as long as she woke up. But never mind. So he went on there and he kissed her awake. And she woke up and she had this kind of, "Oh, yeah, Siegfried, you're my nephew." She doesn't say he's his nephew. He's her nephew. "Oh, Siegfried, I wake up. You're so great. You're my hero." And Siegfried's like, "Are you my mom?" And she's like, "No, this is weird." And almost immediately after he realizes that she's not his mom, in fact, because he also didn't believe Mime that she said, immediately after he knows that she's not his mom, he comes on to her, and they have this a bit absurd talk about, and this is like subtext, this is obviously not a part of it, about whether or not they should go to bed with one another. Let's be real. And she's like, I'm gonna lose all my strength if I do this. And he's like, "No, it's gonna be fun." I mean, they're both virgins. Come on, how fun can that be? Anyway, and they have this 40-minute conversation. The problem is that she's madly in love with him. And I mean, going from being in love with your brother to half-brother to being in love with your double half nephew, it's not that far. Come on. It's really doesn't matter at this point. And ultimately, obviously, Brünnhilde says, "Okay, good, I love you so much." And he says, obviously he says, "Don't you love me? Don't you love me?" And she says, "I love you so much, and yeah, why not? Let's do it. Let's get over with this." And yeah, not really much to say anymore. After this, curtain goes down, and well, Brünnhilde loses her strength and so much more. And this was Siegfried. By the way, there's also this beautiful metaphor. If you like want to come on to a Wagnerian, just say, "Will you jump into a stream with me?" Just do it. If they're a real Wagnerian, they know what you mean. Because there was this one time when Brünnhilde kind of said, I have to translate this now. She said, "Have you ever seen your own picture in a stream? If you have, you know that you cannot touch that image that you have when looking at the stream, because you would ruin your own picture." And she says, "I am like that picture. If you touch me, I am ruined." And he says, "Yeah, no, I don't care. I'm fire. I'm fire for you. I love you. You're the one for me. And I am jumping into the stream. I don't care about this." Which is ultimately also his downfall. Yes. So this is a really short one because there's not so much in it, but there's so... It's ultimately one of the most beautiful musics, and I'm gonna say it, even though it's my least favorite part of The Ring, because there's not so much woman action going on there, and it's really high for Brünnhilde. There's not so much woman action going on there. This was the one that sold me to Wagner. Because as you know, I was, I think, 18 when I first saw The Flying Dutchman, and then I thought like, okay, good, I'm gonna buy this like the Ring, the box of The Ring via Amazon or something, and I like watched the first two and I was not really sold, which is absurd right now, honestly. Watched the first two, wasn't really sold, and then I kind of gave up during the first act of Siegfried, and I moved later, a few years later, I moved to Hamburg. And I thought, should I take this with me? Because maybe I would like it or not. Not sure. And I took it out again and I rewatched it, and I began with Siegfried because obviously I had seen the first two, and I watched this and I was sold. Which is really absurd because, as I said, Siegfried's my least favorite part of all, because there's not so much woman action. Brunhilde is like there for 1/3 of the third act. Erda is also there for 1/3 of the third act. The singing bird is not even really a thing. The forest bird, I'm sorry, they call it a forest bird. Is not even really a thing. But this is what sold me. And this production, if you haven't seen it, please go online, search the Metropolitan Opera, The Ride of the Valkyries, and then tell me this isn't the greatest riding of the Valkyries that you've ever seen. This is so, so good. The staging of this is brilliant. It's really simply brilliant. I think Deborah Boyd is one of the, if not the most, or the best Brunhildes there is. Obviously Sabrina Fell, come on. So obviously my perfect production, kind of at least, let's say the Valkyrie. I think the best production for me would be having Waltraud Meyer as Sieglinde, having Simon O'Neill as Siegmund, then having obviously either Sabrina Fell or Tomasz Konieczny, because they're both so good and they are such different Wotans for some reason. Either one of them as Wotan, have Christa Meyer as Fricka, Deborah Voigt as Brunhilde. And again, God, this is so embarrassing. I know what his name is. I knew it. It's the current Hunding of Bayreuth. Great. He's so great. I've seen him in like 3 different productions until now, because he's like in every one of them. Whenever they need a bass, they look for him. Anyway, so this is what sold me. Watch this production. Watch this staging. Watch how great it is. This is so, so good. I don't know whether this production is still like on stage. In America, I would hope so. Also, I think it took years for them to perfect the staging, because they've got, I can't explain it. Just watch it. It's really good. And he really looks like Siegfried. He looks like what you would imagine Siegfried. Like the Bayreuth Siegfried does not look like this. But anyway, this was that, and have a nice day. Bye.